Welcome to another episode of Treasure Corals. In today's video, I will give a quick update on the status of the water box system behind me. This is a monster of a tank, Reef LX 340.7, and I will also talk about all the products that I'm going to be using on this aquarium. There's a couple of things that I've never used before, a couple of products that I'm really excited about. So with that said, let's dive right in. Before I'm going to talk about the products, the most important step, in my opinion, in setting up an aquarium is making sure that it is level. Every single tank that I've used, I've always leveled it to perfection. Some were easier than the others, and I can definitely say that the newer line of tanks, so for example this water box Reef LX model behind me, but also my other tank, so pretty much anything that's modern makes it super easy to level. It comes in very easy to adjust, very sturdy legs. This particular aquarium has 9 plus, so I think 11 legs, and it's really pleasant. I remember when there were days when I would have to use shims, sometimes it's pretty easy to do it up in front, but when we're talking about the back of the tank, it becomes next to impossible. So it's very hard to level a large tank. And the first version of water box that I had those little plastic, much smaller legs with like metallic threads. These ones are a lot bigger, a lot sturdier. I absolutely love them, and makes it really, it's actually a pleasant experience compared to all the other ways that you might level it. But you can see I'm taking it super seriously. I have a laser level that is directed at the top of the tank. I have, I think, 3 or 4 levels that I'm just slowly working throughout the tank, just making sure that every angle, both the sump, sometimes you want to check not only the edges of the tank, but also the bottom of the tank and also the bottom of the sump. So I'm taking my time, but I know that even if I'm going to spend a couple of hours, 3 hours just doing it, at the end, this is going to be a very worthwhile decision. The last thing you want is a tank that's crooked. And for such a large tank, as you can see here, I think it's even more important. I know that, knowing myself, it would really bug me to know that even if the water level would be 1/4 of an inch different from one angle to another, from one side to another. So I take it extremely seriously, and I'm taking my time. So that's one thing that I've been spending last few days on. Another thing is making sure there's enough electricity running into the tank, really making sure that, and you may actually hear some sound, there's some final work that's going on in the tank, just making sure that everything is solid in terms of this experience. I have leveled the tank. I'm going to start by adding a little bit of water and just re-leveling and making sure that, or checking the level, making sure that there's no funny business going on here, because at the end I want to make sure that even when the tank is 100% full, nothing has shifted and it's perfectly level. Another thing that took a lot of time was making sure that I find just perfect location for it. And when I say that, this is not only just replacing the previous tank, but making sure that it's balanced in the room from the left and right side, and also finding just enough space in the back where I can fit my arm or squeeze my arm in, so I can clean the glass, but also not leaving too much of a gap where it becomes a little bit unsightly. And I'm using about 3 inches, just a little bit over 3 inches as the distance between the back wall to the wall of the room. So this is yet another thing that I'm doing. I'm trying to think of all the ways I'm going to access the tank, making sure that everything is just perfect. Then the next thing is going to be hanging the lights. And I haven't done it yet, so this is the next step. I'm gonna probably spend the next few hours setting up. But let's start with, I guess, talking about the lights. Yeah, many of you know me as somebody who's used all the best products by Ecotech and Aqua Illumination. I'm a big fan of radiance, and I run them in my farm. And I've thought a lot about what I want to be running on this tank because I want the best experience for me. And while many of you have suggested that I go for the hybrid model, which I do like a lot, because this is going to be an open top, I think just for what I'm trying to achieve, I'm actually going to go with all blades. So I've used blades before in my other tank with great results. I still run them on my yet another 4-footer tank with exceptional results as well. So I'm going to be using blades on this tank as well. I really like that uniform look. I like that T5 look, this enveloping of light. And the only thing that I'm going to do different, and I know that many of you actually, I get emails pretty regularly, several a week, where you're asking about my opinion or experience with both grow and glow. And I have always recommended to be running grows. This is just my personal preference. I think that when you're limited to, let's say, only 2 blades, I think it's, for me, I still haven't changed my mind. I will always recommend just getting 2 grows. But when you have more than 2 blades, I think this is where it becomes a little bit more fun to pick from. So in this case, I will be running, I think I'm going to be running 6 blades total. But you can, even if you run, let's say 3, I think you can follow a very similar pattern. Why am I going to be running 6 is because this is a monster of a tank. It's actually front to back 30 inches. And I'm going to be running 4 grows and 2 glows. So if you are using 3 blades, you can do the same setup with 2 grows and 1 glow. So basically 2-to-1 ratio. And I thought a lot about it. One of the reasons I am actually really excited about the glows is because I've been using them on my farm as the supplementation to my radiance. And that is where I actually have seen a lot of really amazing colors to start popping in some of my corals. I'm not sure if it's just sweet spot in chemistry or something else, but anyways, it was great. And then later on I switched them and I put the grows in there, which gave me a lot better look that I like. But I actually saw that the corals for whatever reason started to lose a little bit of that oomph, like that pinnacle of color. So I'm not, it's very anecdotal. I'm not making any statement on this, but I'm doing this. So I'm going to use 6 blades and it's going to be 2-to-1 ratio grow and glow. And I'm going to really have a lot of fun geeking out on the color spectrum. I want to give this tank everything that I've got and everything that I've learned. And in this particular case, I think this will give me a beautiful canvas to work on. So 2 grows, 1 glow. I think this is going to be great. And I really think that it's also going to be a very slim look, and I think it's going to look phenomenal. Now, this is a 7-foot tank, just a little bit longer than 7 feet. I'm going to be putting the 6-foot blades on those things. So again, perfect, because I'm curious what will happen with those, extra 6 inches. Is it going to be maybe lower light coral? I'm not sure. So again, gives me lots of options. And we'll talk about the aquascape later once I actually get the water in and whatnot. This is a whole other topic. I can't wait to talk about it, but that's not the topic for today's video. Now let's talk about the flow. So for flow, first of all, I've always used Vectra M2 on all of my tanks. So both the Treasure Reef and my Coral tank, the 4-footer, and the M2 is phenomenal because I was able to even push water from the basement all the way to the main floor, and it was great. So M2 is, you'd think, the choice, but no, I will actually be choosing L2. I've never used that, so this is the first one that I've ever about to use. I'm very excited about it. I just think that in this tank I want to go for the best of the best, and it's a large tank, so that's where I want to experience it. So L2 is the way to go. And to complement it, inside of the tank, again, I always have used MP40s. I'm a huge MP40 fan, and I was thinking of different options. I think I was thinking of going with maybe Nero 7 MP40, but I think I'm going to do yet again something completely different. In over 15 years of me keeping Reef tanks, I've never used MP60s. I just never found a need for it. Even on my 200-gallon tank, I thought MP40s were doing an amazing job. But this is even bigger of a tank, and I'm thinking, what the heck, let's get the best of the best, the biggest. It's going to be MP60s that I'm going to be using for this aquarium, and I am stoked about it. This is going to be crazy. So the way I'm thinking of positioning it right now is 2 MP60s on one side, 2 MP60s on the other, and just let it rip. I think probably this is the best option. There's always an option of running things on the back wall. I'm not sure if I'll necessarily want to be putting MP60s on the back wall. If that is the case, maybe it's going to be MP40s. I don't think there's a need for MP60 pushing it, on a shorter distance. It's just I think you can get away with just MP40s. And there's still options for the gyre. I think this is something that I will be using. Maybe if I'll be needing too much, even more flow, I will be MP60 on both sides. And then the 2 gyres kind of facing the tank, facing you, that will help with a little bit of that motion. Maybe it's going to be completely different, but this is my original thought on what I will be doing. So to sum up, blades grow and glow for the lights, Vectra L2 for my flow for the pump, and then it will be MP60s for the flow. For everything else I'll be using, for the dozer I'll be using Versa. I love it. I'll be using also Versa for my auto water change. So I'll be doing the water change automatically on this monster of a tank. And I will be using Apex to control everything. So I'm really excited that in this aquarium there's 2 panels. There's actually an equipment panel on both sides of the tank. That means that I will be probably positioning the Apex on either side of it, and just kind of playing with different options there. So super stoked about that. Finally, I'll probably be doing some kalkwasser to supplement the tank as well, and maybe I have enough space to even put the reactor for CO2 reactor, CO2 scrubber on the tank as well. So it's going to be a lot of fun. Really excited about it, overwhelmed, but this is it's happening. It's a slow but very exciting process. Finally, I want to talk about the experience of building the experience. So I can tell you that I don't think I've ever been more intimidated by a build in my entire life. So, and I've had, if you go to Aquatic Log, there will be a link below. You can actually see every single aquarium that I've had. I've even had my Pragmatic Reef, which was a 6-footer. But one thing to learn in this hobby is that, and it's especially true for saltwater, it's a little bit less for freshwater in my opinion. Every time in freshwater when I would go bigger, let's say 30% or double, it was actually pretty It was a little bit more expensive, a little bit harder to do, but not as much. With salt water, it just scales linearly. So if you're doubling the tank, you're going to be doubling the expenses, the effort, the challenge, everything. So in this particular case, this is the biggest tank that I've ever had, and there's so much that goes into doing something like this. You have to plan for electricity, for solid base of this tank. You want to think of every single thing before you get the water in. But even then, this is massive. This is a very serious challenge, and I take it this way. I think a lot about it. I mean, it's a hobby. I'm definitely not complaining, but I would just say that this is completely different than taking a 4-foot tank and bringing it somewhere, and then you can add water and just kind of have fun. Like, this is a completely different game. And I've seen some people with very large tanks, but never really quite realized what that really means. That's also why it's called the experience. This is why I've called it this way, and this is my experience, and I'm using this channel to share it. This is definitely a privilege to have come to that level in my hobby. I don't think this is something I would start on day one, just because of all the reasons I've mentioned. And I don't even know if I'm ready, but unless I will try, I will never know. So that is why this is such an important project to me. With that said, please let me know what you think of my equipment choices, my pump placement. I'm going to be adding water shortly, but if you can throw your 2 cents, I'll make sure to incorporate that as I continue building on this aquarium. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.